Well, Duong, it's nice to see you again. Gosh, I'm trying to remember the last time we got together in person. Must have been at one of the ASPAC conferences, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, I trust you're keeping well.
I do, and yeah, time really flight, and we're missing the time meeting together in a KPMG Tech Summit with colleagues, our colleagues and friends.
Yeah, wow. So tell me, how has Vietnam dealt with the current pandemic?
Well, definitely, the pandemic have changed the way we live, we work. All countries are dealing with the situation together and individually. So Vietnam responded to COVID-19 from very early on and also very strongly with all of the necessary solutions recommended by the WHOs. And we up to now we've been able to bring to control the situations and making sure that the people can work and live safely. And that is perhaps the reason why Vietnam has been able to achieve a positive economic growth in 2020s, one of the fastest growing economy last year. Obviously temporary, and into 2021, we are really hoping a pickup in economic growth, of course, from a lower base, but on the optimism that the whole country can get over the situations and restart the whole economy in a normal way.
Well, that sounds very positive. That sounds very positive. So tell me, a lot of folk ask about ASEAN. So tell me about Vietnam's role in ASEAN and the relationship there and what you see going on from clients' perspectives.
Yeah, and talk about ASEAN or Vietnam specifically, perhaps as people talk about the multinational trying to deal with the location dependency problem in the supply chain, the whole global supply chain, and looking at the alternative location in ASEAN, like Vietnam, Thailand, and Malaysia, as part of their China Plus One strategies. And this sort of supply chain disruption simply accelerate that process. I'm not saying it happened overnight because there are practical problems in moving or building a new factory when people can't travel and implement their greenfield projects. So the attraction is there and the momentum is there. And now people talk about Vietnam as firstly a very stable political system where people can put the money and invest for the long run. And so the government credibility in dealing with the pandemic and giving confidence to the investor to invest into the countries. And the other very obvious reason is the very strong network of the free trade agreement that Vietnam enter into, whether it is a bilateral agreement with the EU or the UK that came into effect last year, 2021, or the CPTPP, which is already in force, or the very recent one, ASEAN, signed with China, South Korea, Japan, ASEAN, which is creating a great platform for the long-term growth in trade and investment in the decade to come.
So those agreements, those broadly encourage investment and trade flows by removing, I guess, tax barriers and administrative barriers. Is that the key?
Yeah, that is key thing. By lowering the tariff and making it easier for moving the goods from A to B, that pretty much incentivized the investment into the region and inside the region, and building the regional supply chain to take advantage of the lower manufacturing cost base and also the growing consumer market.
Interesting. So very positive from a business perspective. And then just thinking about it for businesses, what opportunities are you seeing investors focusing on these days as it relates to Vietnam?
Yeah, I know Vietnam has been attracting manufacturing, activities, thanks to the comparatively lower labor costs and other costs like the land costs. And that is, I must say, it is a comparative advantage. It is not a permanent one. And all of the factors that I have mentioned enables multinational investor to invest, in Vietnam and expand into not only the region but also outside the region, taking advantage of the lower tariff benefit presented by the free trade agreement. The other thing is perhaps is like countries now coming out of the pandemic want to pretty much regrow their economy. And one of the things that Germany has been working on is to provide the fiscal response to not only dealing with the pandemic, but also regrowing the economy after the pandemic. And one of the very common thing is the tax incentive that people have been talking about. But obviously here we got the rules and that we must abide by with. And Vietnam has put in place a number of important laws, including the investment law that came into effect 1st July 2020, and also other important laws to encourage investment in sectors like high growth, high technology sectors or large scale manufacturing projects. And I really hope that that would be the incentivizing investment into the large scale manufacturing, and also in the longer run the high technology IT sectors and other sector of the futures.
Well, just really interesting. I mean, it sounds like there's a huge focus on encouraging additional investment by business and removing barriers, just making things easier for business. Really positive. Now,
that's
you're
right.
a tax partner, so I'm not going to let you go before I ask you a tax question. So when you talk to multinational investors, what are some of the tax issues that you end up talking about most with them?
Well, perhaps the economy has been open for foreign direct investment for almost 30 years, and over time the system have been improved and reformed since the so-called Doi Moi process started in 1986, and we talk about like 35 years. And that whole process has been reforming the many important laws, regulations and policies to attract not only foreign investment, also promote domestic investment. So one of the things, when it comes to tax, is perhaps the achievement achieved by the Vietnamese government and also the ministry itself in reforming the tax system by reducing the number of hours that people need to spend to file a tax return, pay the tax, comply with the tax laws, and also encourage the competitiveness of the tax system by not only reducing the tax rate, you can't compete to the bottom, but also making sure that the effective tax rate is really lower by removing all of sort of the problematic areas like the non-deductible expense, and also dealing with the long-standing problem in the tax system. And this is really where I see the positive thing about the tax reform in Vietnam. And looking at the World Bank index, we see improvement year over year of the Vietnamese tax system compared to the rest of the world.
Well, that's a very positive story, right? That's got to be a great boost for confidence by investors in investing in Vietnam. And I can only imagine, Duong, it's keeping you super busy these days.
Well, tax is never resting, right? It's never resting.
Well, that's right. If we know anything about tax, it keeps on changing, what with BEPS and the focus on substance and things like that globally. Well, yeah. Look, it's just great catching up with you again, Duong. Thank you for your time. That was really interesting, and it's just great to hear just how well things are going in Vietnam. Hey, stay healthy, okay?
Yeah, well, very much. Thanks for your time, your evening time. We're pretty much looking forward to meeting with you again in person in whatever, KPMG Tax Summit, Power Sport, our international partner tech network, and outside of the KPMG business. You travel to Vietnam, I travel to Canada, for example. And what we need to know, what want to do now is to someone fly, and go. That's perhaps the best wishes we want.
Absolutely. It's just been too long. So I look forward to that in-person get together. Okay. Well, look, you have a good day today. Thank you for your time.
You too. Have a good evening. Yeah, stay safe. Thank you.